So, hi everyone. I know you're here for Sanskrit Thomas interview about her Amazon experience, strategy for preparation, and much more. But this message I want to just put out there to thank Sanskriti for her dedication, her hard work, and her support towards recording this video because I wasn't able to thank her properly then. We recorded this interview thrice. In the first two times, we faced some technical difficulties because of which we were unable to retrieve the recording, and but still she was so supportive when we went on to record it the third time. So I'd really like to thank her for that because she was so dedicated to put out this necessary information out there for everyone, and she made this possible. So thank you, Sanskriti, for this. And I hope that all of you enjoy this video as well. We are really candid in this. It's not scripted at all, of course. It's her experience. We've made some jokes, we've made some laughs and whatnot. So I hope that the information that you're about to get is quite helpful for you, and I hope you can share it further and enjoy yourselves. Thank you. So, hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, today we are interviewing Sanskriti Tomar, a third year Delhi Technological University student currently pursuing her BTech in computer engineering and has managed to bag an intern at one of the world's largest organization, Amazon. So, that is a feat that I congratulate her for, and it's a great achievement. So, congratulations, Sanskriti. Sanskriti is one of those people that I know from quite some time, and from what I could say is that she's a very hardworking and a consistent person, and in general is a great person to hang out around, and is a good friend of mine. So, hi Sanskriti, how are you?
I'm great.
So, did I miss on anything in the introduction that I just gave?
That was a wonderful introduction.
Thank you for that. So, first of all, of course, congratulations for Amazon.
Thank
So,
you.
that's an amazing feat. So, how did you feel when you when you came to know about it?
First of all, I didn't believe that was true.
Okay.
I read the email 4, 5 times and then I was like, this is what it means, right?
If I'm
Mm.
not wrong, that you got enrolled into the Amaze Wow program. So, could
Mhm.
you tell me a brief about how did you come to know about this opportunity?
I got to know about this opportunity from my training and placement cell in DTU. So, AmazeWow is an initiative of Amazon to give female engineering students an opportunity to intern with Amazon. This internship opportunity was hosted on the website amazebit.com, and you can check out this website for similar opportunities. So, Amazebit is a platform that provides opportunities for women in technology.
So, I'll
So, it's
post
an
the
awesome.
link to Amazeword in the description. All right.
Hmm.
So, for those who are
Okay.
interested, you can check that out. So, were there any restrictions, any restrictions on the college or the course or anything like that while applying for it, or was it open for all?
There were no restrictions on college. However, there were a few criteria that I would mention. First of all, this opportunity is open for both fourth semester and sixth semester engineering students. The selected second year students will be eligible for a 2 month internship, and the third year students will be eligible for a 6 month internship or an FTE offer. The candidate should be female. They should be in the branch CS, IT, electronics, or electrical. The CGPA should be 6.5 and above, and there should be no backlogs in any semester.
Can you please highlight the timeline when this was happening?
So around 20 April, I applied for the program, and after the resume screening process was over and I was shortlisted, I got this. They reverted in 2 weeks that I was eligible for the test by April end.
So, the first test that you just mentioned, could you please
Mm-hmm.
tell us what was there all there in the test? How many questions and how many sections, etc.?
Okay, so I'll give a detailed description of the online assessment. The first round was code debugging assessment. There were 7 questions related to code debugging. There were in the question, I would be given a piece of code and I had to edit the code so that it works, and then I would submit the code. So this round was for 20 minutes. But the next round was coding test. There were 2 questions for 70 minutes.
Okay.
The first question was merge to sorted linked list, which was a heap question, and the second was also a heap question, which I don't remember.
All right.
The next round was logical ability, and it had 20 questions, which I had to solve in 35 minutes. Okay, so I don't remember the logical ability part, but I remember this one question because it was a pain in the. So you
Yeah.
know,
We'll censor it out. Okay. No worries. Yeah.
was that some clues were given as to where the people are sitting in a circle, and it was a paragraph, and 3-4 questions were related to that. So those kind of questions.
All right.
And there
And
was okay, stop interrupting me. There
okay.
was one more round, and the last section was work style assessment. So basically, 50 questions related to ethics. This was around 20 to 24 May, and the result came back after 1 week. The result came, and I was selected for the next round, which was the interview. The interview was the last step of the process.
Okay. So could you detail what happened in the interview? What kind of questions were asked?
Okay, so the interview was scheduled on 11 June. I remember the exact date. uh, the number of questions that were asked totally depends on the speed with which you answer, because it was a fixed 1 hour interview. In the beginning of the interview, for the first 5 minutes, I gave my introduction, and I was asked what subjects I was taking up in my second year. I was very nervous for this interview as it was my first interview.
Oh, okay.
When the interview asked me what subject I had in my fourth sem, I completely blanked on it. Because of the lockdown, I was home for 3 months and I didn't remember my subjects.
Yeah, because of course, online semester clearly meant that we were studying way too much to even forget about the subjects, right? Like we had too much information about the subject that we forgot its name.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So then he asked me if I was comfortable with DBMS, and I honestly answered him that I didn't remember the name.
Well,
So yeah. So from this, I would suggest that if you're not comfortable with the topic in your interview, tell the interviewer that you're not comfortable and move on to the next topic, because interviewer was there to hire. And I treated it like a discussion. Like you discuss with a friend.
yeah, so this is something that I intervene here. Okay, sorry, but I just have to say it because a lot of people think that putting great things on a resume is going to improve their chances of getting hired. While
Mm-hmm.
on the contrary, the more things you have on your resume, is actually what we could say a bed for more questions. So,
Hmm.
if you're lying on your resume about something that you have not done, that means you're going to get into a trap of questions which you're not able to answer. You have
Hmm.
a better bet by showing them your strengths and putting your strongest foot forward rather than lying on your resume. So, I'd recommend this to do not lie on your resume because see, these interviewers, they're not noobs, but I think honesty goes a long way.
Okay. So now I'll begin with the questions that were asked. I was very nervous, but as soon as he started asking me questions, I just got into the zone, and also the first question that he asked was so simple that it helped. So the first question was find the middle of a list. Mhm.
Okay.
And while solving the question, I gave him two approaches. The first approach I gave was, when I had to traverse the whole English. And the second approach was the one where I used two pointers. So this I would suggest that you do in an interview. It is very important that you show the interview how you think, how you approach to your solution. So first start with the basic approach, you know, and then move on to the optimized solution.
Yeah, so this is something that is quite common that I've heard as well. That
Mm,
I mean, if you simply say the answer that this is the most optimized, it clearly comes across that you've seen this question in the past,
mm,
right? Whereas while in an interview, they want to check how good are you at reaching solutions that you've not come across in the past, and that is
mm,
quite important in an interview because they don't want to see what you know; they want to see how you think. They want to see whether you're comfortable with things or not.
mm. Exactly. Okay. So the next question was find maximum sum contiguous subarray, which is the famous Kadeen algorithm question. Okay.
Okay.
From this question, he made a slight change to it that I have to, for the third question, he asked that I have to find the maximum sum in the array, but I cannot take two adjacent numbers. So, which is the house robber problem from Lead Code,
And which
which
is
is my third question.
also present on my channel. So again, as from the last video, subtle self promotion there. So I'll post
Yeah.
the link in the description for that problem as well, for anyone who wants to check it out.
And yeah, I forgot to mention that the interview was going on. It was a video chat on Chime, and they gave me a platform where I would code, but I would not be running the code.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Moving on to the fourth question. The fourth question was find median of a running stream of numbers. So in this question, I couldn't come up with a solution. So I gave him a basic approach using insertion sort. But I was honest that, sir, I am not able to solve this question. So he did not make me code it. But then we started having a discussion about what data structure I could use to solve this question. So he asked if I could use arrays, vectors, heaps, trees, Then he was also asking me questions related to that data structure, like how insertion works in a vector, how memory is allocated in an array, all these type of questions.
So with this, I'd like to add two things. The first thing is that when we code on a platform like LeetCode or InterviewBit or anything of that sort, we are used to of letting those platforms know us if our code is running into an infinite loop, that is a runtime error, or something like a segmentation fault. Things like those. Uh, these are something that you won't be able to recognize so easily when such a case arrives. So, like Sanskriti mentioned, that when you are under such a platform where you cannot run your code, there you have to be quick on your feet, right? So these are the kind of things I'd advise you to practice on Google Doc, maybe, or any platform like this, because these kind of interviews happen either on Google Docs or
Or
some
pen and paper.
pen.
And
Yeah,
if they're happening in person, then you have to code it on paper, and
yeah,
it's
you have
very
to write
important
it down.
that you practice that.
Yes. So all of these companies take pen and paper rounds, but in online, because of the pandemic, these have
Hmm.
gone on online platforms. So even HackerRank has this facility for interviewers in case anyone did not know about it. So these are the things that I'd like you to practice. And second thing, as Sanskriti mentioned, that she wasn't able to reach to the solution, right? But it's very important that in an interview, think out loud. You should consider it as a
Hmm.
discussion with your interviewer about what you're thinking and
Hmm.
what approach you're taking.
Hmm.
So these are some things that I would recommend you, that even if you're not able to reach the final solution, you should be able to reach a partial solution.
I did not know that at that time, and I thought I blew the interview because I couldn't code it. So in the last 10 minutes, the interviewer asked if I wanted to solve another question, and I was like, "Yes, sir. De do ek aur." So the fifth question was that I have to find the number of nodes in each level of a tree.
The interview happened, and so when were the results declared? And
I got the confirmation email after 2 months of the interview.
what was your hard work or preparation strategy, and how did you go about solving questions? And could you please discuss that in detail?
Yeah, sure. See, I would explain my whole process.
Okay.
First of all, I was new at this, the whole coding thing. I only started coding, learning C++ after my first semester. So I would learn stuff from YouTube, and I would then practice questions from HackerRank. I learned about strings from you, Seeman. Yeah. You remember, I was asking what is concatenation, and you were like, this is how it works. And
Yeah.
okay, and so after the first year, I was comfortable in C++. So what I did after we came home in March for a 2 week break. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
So
start
when are the 2 weeks ending? It seems like a long week.
when I came home, I started coding from Interview Bit. Then I shifted to Lead Code and Geek for Geeks. I sorted the questions based on the company. First, I did questions on Amazon, and I made
Right.
a list of all the questions that I did.
So in this, as you discussed that there are a lot of free resources, so I'd recommend a few here as well. Whereas
Mm.
although I've discussed all the free resources in much detail in another video, link to which again in the description, and this time as not so
No,
subtle
it's so
self promotion. Yeah, not so subtle, definitely. Okay, and of course, graphs is one of the scariest topics out there, and is a little, as Sanskriti mentioned previously in the a pain in the. We'll censor it out. Okay, so and again, I'm gonna do a little bit more of self promotion because I really need it. I have webinars on graphs. I have questions on graphs. Please check them out. Okay, so this is
Mm.
something that I receive a lot, especially from women. Like they are aware of the WIT programs, which are women in tech programs, right? So they have this doubt, right? That should we prepare for general companies that are gonna approach us in the on-campus intern drives or placement drives, or should we prepare specifically for these programs since they seem to have a higher number of hiring percentage or something like that. So what is
Mhm.
your advice for them?
I think they should prepare for general companies because first thing that if you're preparing for general companies, obviously the level of questions is a bit better. Although this is not true for all the companies, but still, if you're preparing for general companies, you prepare for the worst. You cover everything, and also if you there is not a certainty in WIT programs also that you will get selected, because there are a large amount of candidates even in female programs.
So there's another thing that I think from all the interviews that I've conducted recently and experiences from everyone. So the topics that you could look for in WIT programs is generally DP, a bit of linked list, stacks, queues, and heaps.
Mm.
Whereas for journal companies, they ask graphs. Graphs is a topic that is asked quite oftenly. Arrays is something that is explored a lot. Of course, alongside with heaps and DP are always asked a lot, right? So these are the topics that you should focus upon, and it's something I'd recommend the viewers right now, right? So for the
I
final,
think nowadays the companies are asking less and less questions from trees and linked lists and more questions from arrays, graphs, and heap.
yeah,
Heap is a very hot topic right now.
yes. So see, yeah, I mean, my strongest topic is heaps, and I'd say I'm loving it. Please ask more and more heaps. Any HR watching this, any technical recruiter watching this, please ask more questions from heaps. Okay, so anyway, so the final question that I want to ask is that there's this perception that people have that competitive coding is the only way to go around for interviews if you want to crack a big company, right? Whereas from the
Mm.
past interviews that I've had, whether that be from Ronak Sakuja, who's placed in Microsoft, whether that be with the talk that Sumit sir had from Pep Coding and the interview I had with Shreya, I could pretty much say that they were not so inclined to competitive coding, whereas they were inclined much more to a fixed list of questions. So, what is your take on that?
Competitive programming is not the only way to go. I prepared using the list of questions. Because the companies, they only ask certain questions. Like if you do those sets on GFG, you will see that after 10, 12 sets, the question will start repeating. You will see a pattern that the company is asking the questions like this,
I mean, of
and it helps
course,
me a lot.
if you could do 2 cross 2, you could definitely do 3 cross 3, right?
Hmm.
So you're preparing yourself for 2 cross 2, and then eventually you should be smart enough to do 3 cross 3. If
Hmm.
I mean, in case you find that difficult to extend your concepts, of course, your list has to be much bigger than 400 or 500 questions. Whereas I
Hmm.
feel that a list of around 400 to 600 questions is quite enough for cracking major interviews. Competitive coding is really great for handling the anxiety and the adrenaline rush and the pressure of a coding interview, right? Because you learn how to manage your time and how to reach to a solution a bit quicker. But on the other hand, they have a lot of maths that is not required. So if you're a little weak at competitive, don't worry. There's not an issue.
Hmm.
You could just still stick to your traditional questions and still crack a lot of interviews. Of course, we're not here saying that this is the only way or that is the only way. We're not claiming anything. Of course, everyone has their own strategy and their own comfort zone. But I
Hmm.
feel that if you're weak at one and are better at other, so somewhere this will help, somewhere that will help. There's no fixed pattern to it, of course. Right. And there's another advice that, as we discussed about interview bit, so good thing about interview bit is that the questions are divided into sections, and those sections are further divided into subsections.
Hmm.
Right. So, and plus there is also a timer running.
A
So
timer,
when you
yes.
see that timer and when you compete on the leaderboard with your peers from your college and around
And you
the
do
world,
that Superman fly when you do the
huh.
question really fast.
So, okay. So for all
Now there's
the
a unicorn. पहले Superman था. Now there's a unicorn that flies across the screen.
okay. So from DC they went to like fairy tale. I don't know. Okay, that's weird. Uh, okay, my point is that there's a timer there, and
Hmm.
that when the clock is ticking, I mean, it's just when you're under pressure, you're bound to perform better sometimes, right?
And there's this point system that if you do the question in less time, then
There's
you're
more
getting
points.
more points. And
Hmm.
as the time is increasing, the points are decreasing. So this is a rewarding system that HackerRank also uses. That you get points, so you get stars.
Yeah.
So that also helps.
So yes, of course, incentivizing things is a good psychological trick. So
Yeah, because you when you practice hard questions, it gets very difficult to stay motivated. And staying motivated and doing questions consistently is the main thing that you have to do. Even if
yeah,
you're not doing hard questions every day, like if you do easy questions, then do 10 to 15 questions daily. Or if you do hard questions, then 5 is enough. But staying motivated and consistent is the main key,
So
you know,
that's
over a
words
long
of
period of
wisdom.
time.
That's great words of wisdom, I guess. Uh, yeah. So that's, I think, quite a lot of publicity for interview bit. Sponsor me
Hmm.
now, I guess. So, but anyway, uh, as I mentioned that yes, another thing that I'd like to conclude with this discussion is that see, people give long challenges in Code Chef. I know that Sanskrit did as well, right? So in
Hmm.
long challenges, you're solving hard questions. Of course, it's a good motivator that your mind is constantly running, but you don't need to get stuck on one question for very long. It doesn't help you a lot. Solving one question for for 2 hours is not as good as solving two questions for 1 hour, right? Do that instead of the other.
Hmm.
Solve 2 or 3 questions in 2 hours or 1 hour rather than solving one question in 2 or 3 hours. Don't shy away from copying the code or looking at the solution, right? It's
Hmm.
natural that you'll eventually gain this ability to reach to solutions, but it
And
cannot happen.
if you look for other solutions also, then you develop this habit of, you can debug your code faster.
Yes.
Hmm.
So don't shy away from the process. Learn to embrace it because it's quite important to know your capability or caliber and work upon it. Otherwise, you're just stressing yourself for no reason, right?
Hmm.
So with that, I think a lot of psychology students would like to take a
I would
course from
never
us.
stop listening when you started to.
Okay, ouch, that's hurtful, I guess. Anyway, so any closing comments that you'd like to add or any advice?
Again, I would suggest that you stay consistent, because when you stop coding, then it's very difficult to pick it up again.
So
To
consistency is the key, and
Yeah.
hard work has no alternative.
Hmm.
So with on that note, we'll end it here. And if you've made it till here and bared with us, so thank you for staying and thank you for watching. Now that you're here, do not leave this tab without clicking that subscribe button and that like button. And if you have any feedback, please let us know in the comment section, or any questions that you have or any suggestions for future interviews that I should keep or content. So do let me know. And thank you. And again, keep coding, stay consistent, work hard. Thank you.